domesticated animals.
So the mayor is not going to be in attendance tonight. He's not feeling well. So that means that I guess I get to run the meeting. So with that being said, please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and call the regular council meeting to order. Number 3 is approval of the agenda. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I will make that motion.
Okay. And a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Number 4, public forum. Anyone wish to address the council?
Can I just sit here? Is this one on?
I think we need you to sit there for camera purposes.
I just have a couple of quick comments. We had a funeral over the weekend on Saturday. There was no police escort, and I understand we don't have police coverage in the city on the weekends because we're short officers that are qualified to do that. And also, all these people that went to the funeral came back from the cemetery complaining about the water that they had to wade to get to the graves. Can we not take the dirt that we get from the graves, digging the graves, and start spreading that around where all these water puddles are? That cemetery's out there like a flood. It's water everywhere. And if we start spreading the dirt now, maybe we could seed it in the spring, and we can build that cemetery up. But there's water everywhere.
There's water everywhere all over the county right now.
I know, but it's really bad out there when you have to, and even during Memorial Weekend and stuff, you know, that's a wet weekend, and it's usually wade to get to the graves. That's all I have to say.
Ruth, is it mainly on the roads or?
No, it's on the graves itself. And that's why I'm saying that, no, I wouldn't want the dirt spread on the grave,
No,
on
I
the
understand.
roads,
Yeah.
and then reseeded. I want it spread on top of the graves and then reseeded. But they're just covered with water. And we've talked about this before, and Margot said that it couldn't be fixed, but I think, and maybe Darren has some idea how to do it, but I'm thinking maybe if we could take that extra dirt and spread over the cemetery where it's low and reseed it in the spring, maybe we'd be ahead. We can't do it all in 1 year. I understand that, and we can't build probably the whole thing up in one time, but when mine gets low in my yard, I just spread dirt over the hole and the grass comes through. So it's something for you to think about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm sure you've seen me a few times. I believe back in December, Mr. Masters was supposed to provided us with some kind of update. He had called me today saying he has some of the information, but other than that, I've tried to call him, haven't heard anything. Didn't know if you guys had heard anything from him, or because
Have you been able to get with him and
like I said, I called him on. No, I called him once. He literally just returned my. I called him back in December or 1st of January. He literally returned my call this morning. So
I know.
Yeah, Margot?
I talked to James about it today, and I think on Wednesday he's gonna take a punch list over there.
Okay.
okay.
Wednesday this week?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
talked about that he's gonna take the list over and visit, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does
that's
that
kind of
work
what
with
he had mentioned, you know, about my son being there, you know, it was like, we had discussed this back in December, and, you know, I still hadn't heard from him until today, so I just wanted to see if y'all had heard any updates other than that, or.
Does Wednesday work with you guys on that?
Yeah, my son will be there Wednesday, yes, you know, but I mean, March is very quickly approaching. I mean, I know we've been
Right.
completely under snow and ice for the last
Yeah.
30 days, but.
Maybe if you guys would reach out to Janet and make sure that she has your number so James could maybe call you and set up a time or something?
He's got my number and
Okay.
everything, so yes.
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Jen,
So-
do you know I know James is at some meetings and not others. Is there a certain meeting that, like, is there a meeting that he's normally at? Okay,
He doesn't come on a normal basis unless he has something to report.
Okay.
Gotcha.
just
Okay.
wondering, I don't know what anybody else thinks, so should we get an update from him at the next meet, from James too? I'd like to ask James to be here.
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, because I know he was going to provide that kind of checklist.
Right.
I know he
Yes.
talked about
Yes.
that on January 8th, but I do appreciate you keeping us updated.
Yes, I
You
mean,
know,
like I
so
said,
that-
I haven't been able to do anything because like I said, we've been
Right,
under snow, but,
Right.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you've seen me at every meeting. I mean, I'm trying
Yeah.
to make sure that I'm definitely in compliance, so,
right,
you know,
right.
so.
Or, I guess, Janet, could you just have James, even if, I don't know that he necessarily needs to be here, even if he would just provide an update
I can talk with him.
in the next meeting, you know what I mean? Like, even
I
if it's
can
just a
talk
written
with him
update in
Wednesday.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be, yeah.
Or
Yeah, by
after-
then, hopefully
especially
he'll,
after he gets with
Yes,
with you.
yes.
You don't have a little list yet of things
No,
that
I,
you, or
he-
not? Okay.
no, I haven't seen or heard, like I said, I tried to contact him, I think it was after the January 8th
Right,
meeting,
right.
and I don't know if he didn't get the message or what, but he finally called me, like I said, today,
Okay.
and that's the first I've heard from him since.
Okay.
So, like I said, I just wanted to know if you had heard any updates that I hadn't, you know, before, so. But no, if I mean, Wednesday is great, you know, just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything I had missed,
Right.
so. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the council for a public forum?
Mine's really quick. Daryl asked me to take a minute during the public forum, which I thought would be at the end, so this is a little bit weird. But he wanted me to take a minute to thank the city of Marion and the population of Marion for all of the help in getting the restaurant up and running. We're going to be opening for service this weekend.
Ooh, that's
Nice.
amazing.
Very exciting
Yes.
stuff. But it's been a long time coming, and with all of the grants and everything, we just wanted to make sure that we expressed our gratitude for all of the help. So.
We are excited for you.
Yeah,
Big
that's
time.
awesome.
Yes.
Fantastic. Anyone else? All right. With that, we will move on to number 5, approval of the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
That's so moved.
In a second,
I second.
been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I did have a couple of questions. I think it was on page 1 on it was insurance for the new bucket truck. So do we have that bucket truck, I assume, then?
No, not yet.
Oh, it is? Okay, so that's why we had to insure it, okay.
Yeah.
And then on page 3, I'm assuming the clear bags at 11,200, that's for trash bags that everybody gets?
One roll a year.
One, gotcha.
$11,000 of trash bags.
Yep.
Yeah, they're
That's what, when I looked
expensive.
at that, I knew, and they are a good trash bag, but I don't know if they're that good when you look at that many of
And
them.
those are
So
the-
how many rolls is that?
That's what I was gonna ask,
Gotcha.
like, do you know how long when the last time we had to purchase?
Annually.
We have to buy them once a year, do we?
And then if you get more than one roll, then you pay for them, correct?
Right,
Okay, that's what I thought.
And they're the same bags they'd had in the past. It hadn't changed.
right.
What's the fee of, if you have to buy?
13.
Oh, 13, okay.
They're cheap, I mean.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
yeah.
For all
that-
those
and for
bags.
that large of a bag.
Yeah.
And then I had one other question on page 4. It was the appropriation to the library, that 51,700. Is that a one-time deal, or is that twice a year?
No, that's quarterly.
Quarterly,
When we
gotcha.
get the ad valorem, it's just like the library split out.
Gotcha, okay. Okay, I think that's all I have.
Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Hi.
All right. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Number 6, interim city administrator contract. With the mayor not being here tonight, he did he was able to get in touch with Mr. McInerney and come up with a proposal. And so I think as far as number 6, then we can kind of move on to number 7. What I'd like to do is go into an executive session for us to talk about that, and then we can come back out afterwards and go from there. So I would make a motion to enter into an executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, specifically the interim city administrator candidate, to protect privacy interests of the individuals pursuant to KSA 75-4319B1. Motion to include the city council, and I think we can get by with 10 minutes. So we would, let's say, go in at 4:45, and we can come back at 4:55. That's a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, we'll call the regular city council meeting back to order. There was no action taken in the executive session. I would make a motion to approve Mark McInerney as the interim city administrator for the city of Marion to begin on February 15th, Thursday, February 15th. Let me make sure of that date.
Yep, that's correct.
Thursday, February 15th, at a rate of $488 per day, and that is a fully inclusive rate. So no, that's it. There's nothing else in addition to that $488. Make sure yeah, I think that got it.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Did you understand what I just said?
Got it.
Okay. That's a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I think just a couple other things that I'd like to hit on here. So we said $488 a day, or $244 for a half a day, which is anything less than 5 hours in a workday. We do have a proposed agreement here, so I guess maybe Janet, should we make to accept the proposed agreement? Would that be acceptable in that motion? Do I need to amend the motion?
Yeah, why don't you amend it to include that?
Okay, I'm going to amend my motion to say approve Mark McInerney as the interim city administrator under the proposed agreement at a rate of $488 a day to begin Thursday, February 15th. Is that okay with you, Amy?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we've been moved and seconded. Does anybody else have anything? All right. So there'll be no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, number 8, conditional use permit for Marion County. Margot.
The Planning Commission recommends that you approve a conditional use permit for the county for a health department. They base this on all their findings that they agreed upon, and with the condition that they're required to get an easement for the drive-through, and that it be recorded on the deed, and that they look at the possible need for a traffic control going through there. So, you have a lot of information in your packet.
Going through where?
They're gonna go through their garage
Yeah,
and
no, I got
come out on
the
the
traffic
school,
control, I guess, is more
on
what
the
I...
school lot. And so they wondered if, as people pulled on over onto Thorpe, if you need a stop sign there.
When coming
Out of the driveway?
Coming out of the school lot.
Out of the school's driveway?
And that's not our deal, but they
Right.
felt strongly enough they wanted to put it in there to just say that they were concerned about that. I can go over all the findings if you want, but you had all that in your packet. So if you've got questions or
Just to be
your
clear,
choices are, you can either approve it and deny it or send it back.
their recommendation was to approve the
Yes.
conditional use permit, right?
Mhm. And just, they want to make sure they get that easement, and the county's aware of that, and plan on doing that before they break ground on anything, so.
Okay.
We've got some county representatives here, if you have questions for them.
Mr. Vice Mayor, just to let you know on that easement they're talking about, the school is acting on it tonight.
Okay.
So that's already in process.
Cool.
That was the only thing I was wondering, like, where it's written up here in the ordinance that we have in front of us, that county agrees to obtain an easement for the drive-through, but it doesn't say that it's with USD 408. Do we need to have that in the ordinance, or is that?
That's one of the conditions.
I knew it was a condition, and it says that here, but it doesn't really say who the easement is.
I
with.
don't think it needs to have,
Does
who
it not
it's
matter?
with, because
Okay.
that's the only property it can possibly
Okay.
be onto. And like I
Okay.
said, the easement's already being worked on, it's already been agreed to, so it's just a matter of, once the school district passes it, it has to be filed.
Okay.
Thank you, Darren.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't think I do.
Okay. So do we need to, Margaret, do we need to approve the conditional use permit or approve, I mean, it's all the same thing, I guess, but we need to approve this ordinance with the number in it, right? Is that right? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 1507, the conditional use permit for the Marion County Health Department.
I make a motion to accept the ordinance number 1507 for the conditional use permit for the county, Marion County, for the health department.
In a second,
I'll second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
I really like the look of the
I do too.
rendering that you had in there. It
Yeah,
looks
nice.
like a really nice building, so I guess it's a side
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
a nice
Yeah.
improvement up there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 9, Marion Merchants. Mrs. Enzy. Can you, Gene, does it matter?
Oh, you
want
want me to
over
go here? Okay.
I
Thanks.
can't hear sound coming from that microphone, so I'm
Okay.
not sure if you can line up.
Can you hear me here?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. I'm Tammy Enzy with the historic Elgin Hotel. And I'm here representing the Marion Merchants Association. If you're not familiar with what the Marion Merchants is we're just an ad hoc group of business owners, leaders, community members. We get together twice a month to share what's going on, to discuss concerns that we might have in regards to business in Marion, but mainly to collaborate. And so some of the things that we do is like put on Holly Jolly Christmas for the last 4 years. So we do some events like that to try to bring people outside of Marion to Marion. So try to grow our tourism. So the reason I'm here is because recently in some of the meetings we've had, there's been some concerns about whether there's any activity to backfill our previous economic development director, Randy Collett. That position has been vacant for over 2 years, as I'm sure you know. And there's growing concern also with Margot Yates, our community enrichment director, retiring in 3 months, what we're doing with that. So those are two individuals that the Marion business community has felt the most support from as far as City of Marion goes. And without people in those roles, we're just wondering who is supporting the businesses and business growth, who's attracting new business to Marion, who's trying to help businesses that are struggling so that we don't lose any more businesses as we have in 2023. So I don't know what the forum is here. I just wanted to voice that concern from our group. And I guess ask the question, is there any activity to backfill those roles?
I think, Janet, do you know, is the position listed? Do we have it up? No? Okay.
We don't either of them.
So I guess the answer is, on the activity, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Sounds like it's not posted, but as far as I'm concerned, as priority, city administrator, getting a city administrator back in the seat was priority number one.
Sure.
We've obviously done that tonight. This is just my opinion, that's a very close second, getting an Eco back in the chair, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to speak for anybody else up here, but as far as I'm concerned, it ranks very highly. So
Yeah.
that's one of the very first things I would like to address once Mark gets here.
Great.
From my perspective, I don't want to be.
Yeah,
speaking for you
absolutely.
guys.
I think that should be one of our, top importances is getting businesses in and supporting the businesses that we have. So I agree
Right.
with you. I think that's, top of the line.
Well, good.
And I know Mike expressed concern about that and very much interest. In his absence, I can't speak for him, but I just know he voiced that interest, but we never have got to the discussion about that. Really,
Okay.
necessarily so.
Okay, yeah, so there is a question that, is there a reason that we need to wait for the city administrator to be in his role before we pursue recruiting for an economic development director?
I guess that was my question, honestly. And why has, that position not been published for the last 2 years? I'm
You're just seconding my question.
I'm just wondering. I
Thank
just
you,
didn't know if
There's
anybody.
been, I don't know, other than the
Yeah.
fact that I don't have
I don't
any
mean to
idea
look
either.
directly
No,
at
yeah,
you. I'm
no
kinda just
more.
looking everywhere.
And I don't know what the answer is, and I don't know that Janet probably does either.
Yeah.
There's been, as we all know, there's just been a lot of turnover in a lot of different seats over
Right.
the last 2 years. So I
Mm-hmm.
think, unfortunately, it's probably just gotten lost in the shuffle. I guess I kind of thought that the posting has always been up, but that's obviously not the case, so.
Yeah.
No, I don't think there's a reason to not.
I had
Yeah.
had a couple people that were interested in the role, but I've never been able to find a posting. And when I've asked the city, no one's been able to tell me that there was a posting. So maybe I could follow that up with, what are our plans to backfill Margot's role in the community enrichment?
I think that's been something that's been kind of, I believe, floating, correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure that we've had that, we have not
I
had
know
that discussion
Brogan
yet
was
as
working
to.
on a plan
how
for
that's-
that, but
yeah.
since he's gone, I don't know.
Right, so some of these are questions I think that are gonna be better suited once we get even an interim city administrator in here,
Mhm.
somebody that's had experience. I would think we could bounce a lot of these ideas off of him and be able to ask him, how have you seen this handled in communities that you've worked in the past? How could we, what do you best see? And if he's starting next week,
We can ask
be
him.
working on that pretty quickly.
We'll
That
just
would be
bombard
my
him
thought.
with-
Not that, we need to have that discussion too.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I know, like Brogan had discussed with us at our meetings about partnering together on Art in the Park. But then he said the city was taking it on, so we're happy to help with that, but my concern is Art in the Park is not very many months away,
Right.
and with Margot leaving, are you working on that, Margot, or are you just like, I don't think Margot's doing any work on it, so.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. But, it's, obviously from a human resources perspective, it's always advantageous to get someone in that's backfilling someone before they're gone.
Yeah.
So we can do some knowledge sharing and not call Margot back from her retirement, to ask her the 1,000,001 questions that we're all gonna have.
And I agree with that. And that way we can, yeah.
Is there maybe a date that we should follow up? Or should we just knock on Mark's door when he starts on Thursday?
On Thursday, just be there to greet him.
We, of course, will.
you guys meet, what, the second and
Second and fourth
fourth,
Tuesdays.
right?
Yeah.
How does that line up with when he's?
I don't have a
I guess I
calendar
can
in
pull
front
this
of
up here
me.
real quick.
I would
That's what I
guess
was gonna ask
that
is
our
when do you
next,
guys-
I
Would
would
be your
guess we
fourth
would have a meeting
So you
a
meet-
week and a half after he.
13th is the meeting, so,
Okay.
On the 13th, yeah.
um, 19th.
Did you send them in to pick up an application or anything, Tammy, for, you said you had somebody interested?
No, I had talked to a couple of people and, I mean, they've since moved on. This has been
Okay.
more than a year
I didn't know
ago,
if it
so,
was somebody that was recent or.
no.
Well, what about even meeting at the end? I mean, you'd want him to at least come in and, get settled
Right.
for a minute.
Right. Yeah, that's what
Yeah, it wouldn't be my intention to bombard him.
I'm thinking, maybe we can, we have a meeting on the 19th, and we could ask him if he was planning, if he could try and attend that meeting on the 27th that you guys have, to do kind of an introduction with you guys, and, figure out where you guys are coming from, and then, I don't know, what do you guys,
And then we can put it on the agenda for our next meeting to discuss it
maybe after that, then,
more in depth.
Okay.
Yeah.
does that sound all right?
That sounds great.
Okay.
No, I appreciate it. Any activity towards that end would,
Yeah.
I think, ease some worries.
When you're meeting, Tammy, March, not,
February.
the 27th
Yeah.
Yeah, the 13th and the 27th, we have meetings.
at noon?
9 o'clock, yeah.
Here, this building.
Upstairs.
Up in the
old
previous,
council
You'd like
room.
him
yeah.
to come to the one on the 27th then?
Absolutely. He's welcome to come to every one if he'd like to.
All right, I will get on him.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your
Yes,
time. I
thank you.
appreciate the
Thank you.
consideration.
Thank you
Yeah.
for bringing up the issue.
All right. Number 10, KDOT Transportation Alternative Grant Discussion. I just wanted to put this one on there. I got a call from Darren the other day, and thankfully he's here, so he can answer the really hard questions anybody has. But the KDOT puts out or just came out last week with a grant opportunity, and Transportation Alternatives basically is, bike trails is the big one. You can maybe hit on some of the other things that would fall under it.
Well, is this not working yet?
Yep, there.
Okay, it's okay. This is also the same program that we funded the downtown with. So it encompasses more than just bike trails, but that's been their main focus for KDOT the last couple of rounds. This particular grant program, they do only every other year. So it was 2 years ago, and now this year, and it'll be 2 years before they do it again. So that's kind of why I brought it up. It has a very short turnaround time. KDOT does this program a little bit different in the fact that by the 1st of March, so they gave us a whopping 28 days, we have to turn in what's called a concept paper. And basically, it's not a huge detailed application, but you turn in this concept paper. KDOT then goes through all the concept papers and decides what projects are eligible. They notify okay, now you can turn in an application, but only the ones that would actually be eligible. It's their way of kind of weeding out all the projects that don't fit the program up front. So by March 1st, though, if it's anything we thought about wanting to do, we have to turn in that concept paper. That's why I wanted to get it on the agenda as quick as we could, let you know all about it.
So with that, we would have one more council meeting where we could approve the actual concept prior to
Right,
submission.
and even if we didn't have the details ironed out, if you had an area or a idea that you could approve at that next meeting, that still gives me 10 days to package it to get it turned in.
So when I heard about it, here was my thought, and I just wanted to bring this up, throw it out there, see what you guys thought. A bike path, so this is an 80-20 grant, so the state pays 80%, we could pay more than 20%, right? I mean, you can.
You can, but on this one, it doesn't gain you any extra points
Okay.
to request more.
So it's 80-20 grant, we're on the hook for 20%. A thought I'd had, something I've heard people discuss and that I think would be really cool, would be a bike path between the city of Marion and the county lake. And if we could partner with the county on that, and actually I see a county commissioner sitting back there. He's really glad he showed up now. But if we could partner with the county, I've heard in the past, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, that typically if you get two entities working together on those grant applications, it actually makes them more
Appealing.
appealing to the state. So it was something that I had, that kind of popped into my head when I heard about it as an 80/20. Takes, then, I don't know if it's something that you guys are in favor of, and I don't know exactly how that'd have to work. We'd obviously have to go to the county commission, somebody would have to go to the commission, and see if they would be on board with it. There's a lot of things in there, but as a concept, it was something that.
As a concept too, it wouldn't necessarily have to have the county or the county buying off on it before we submit the concept paper, and then the details, if they say, okay, yes, go ahead and proceed with an application, at that point, we'd still have enough time to work to find out if there was some joint interest.
So we don't necessarily, I mean.
We wouldn't have to, it'd be good to bring it up and let them know that that might be what your intentions maybe are, but we wouldn't necessarily have to have a joint agreement in place before that concept paper was submitted.
Okay.
Can I chime in, or is that out of order?
I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I read over that grant too, and I was thinking about bike paths, and I also wonder if we could look at bicycle and scooter rental that would be able to be used on that path, as well as, in downtown.
Like some of the bike share stuff that you see.
Yes.
Yeah, I've thought that's some cool stuff too.
Yeah, because we've done some research at the Elgin on that. We actually were about to pull the plug and do it in 2020, but then COVID hit and all the prices changed. So it's just way out of our price
Yeah,
range.
and Darren, you're more familiar.
I don't know that KDOT would allow a third-party for-profit equipment piece.
Well, but I mean, even if what if the city, or I think what you were getting at is, what if the city would include it in the grant?
That's what I mean, I don't know that the grant could be used to purchase equipment that would be used for profit.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because you're renting, I see what you're saying.
Which you almost have to have a for-profit to take care of maintenance and all the other pieces and
Yeah.
parts for those.
There'd be too much liability.
That would be the tricky part, I think, that a lot of those grant programs just can't be used for a for-profit situation.
Okay.
I mean, in my opinion, I think even just a bike trail draws people in. There's people that search that out, and then you have, kind of the Airbnbs that are popping up at the county or at the lake. I think it's
That's what I've
A fabulous
I've talked
idea.
to people that live at the lake, and a lot of them have expressed interest to me.
It would be
in-
so cool.
They would like that, the ability to have a different way back into town. I think it'd be kind of a cool one. That was just, like I said.
yeah.
There currently is a gravel road that leads out there, however, it's not the safest thing
No.
I've
to
biked
bike on,
that.
which I
I've
do
biked it
regularly.
several times.
So it might just be a safety issue as well by doing this for those that do.
That's for
Take
all
that
the
back.
thrill seekers in life.
Yeah.
It's my kids I'm concerned about though.
So I don't know, I just kind of wanted, like I said, wanted to throw it out there, see what your all's interest level was in it. If it's something that you guys go, no, I don't want to, no, we won't. But if it is something that maybe we're interested in, maybe we, try and figure out how we can hook up with the county commission
And like I said, from our standpoint in helping get that put together for the first deadline, really all I would need is either at this meeting or the next meeting, you guys to say, yeah, let's get a concept paper turned in on it, and we can get that part, turned in.
Then from there, okay, so if you turn the concept paper in and they come back and say, yes, this
They're
is our.
supposed to notify everybody within 30 days of what concept papers earned the right to turn in an application.
So
this isn't even the application.
No, this is not the
So if we turn in the
application.
concept and then come back and go, now, never mind, we want to back out, we're not.
No harm, no
losing-
foul.
Okay, because I know sometimes with grant business.
What KDOT has told us when we've checked in on this program as well, so they're starting to do this with a couple others, is, they get inundated with hundreds of applications on each one of these programs. And after they go through and look at them, about half of them don't even fit the eligibility criteria. So people don't go to 40 hours worth of work on a grant. They're going to this concept paper thing where you're doing 4 to 6 hours worth of time for them to say, okay, no, that doesn't fit the program. Instead of, a bunch of time in an actual application for them to say, no, it doesn't fit this program. It's kind of a pre-application is a better way to say it.
Why don't we, sorry, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to move to go ahead and submit the concept paper for the KDOT grant for looking at a trail from the city out to the county lake with EBH submitting that paper for us.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Moving to second.
Yes.
Any further discussion? The only thing I was gonna say, and I don't, maybe, do we wanna say over the next, I don't know, does anybody, I mean, if there's other ideas and we go out and talk in the community and see like, hey, maybe it's not the city to the lake, maybe there's something else and then we come back in 2 weeks and actually do the final approval of what concept we wanna go with? I don't know what anybody thinks there.
I mean, if you, I guess I have a question. If you submit this now, but then we are like, well, let's, maybe not to the county lake, then it wouldn't work.
What I
correct?
would do, I would not submit this until the 1st.
Okay.
I mean, we always wait until we're closer to the deadline. I wouldn't submit it like in the next 2 days.
Okay.
So I would wait at least through, basically my plan would be, if Mark's going to be on board before the next meeting, which he would be, to catch him before the next meeting and then also have a draft of that concept paper for you guys to review at your next meeting now that I have that time. In the meantime, if you guys go out in the community and find that, hey, nope, hey, we need to look in a totally different direction, and that's the heading you're getting from people, then that still gives me 10 days to change it. So I think this is probably the right,
Yes.
right way to
order,
move right
yeah.
now and go ahead and get this part of it done. You have it in front of you.
Okay.
We can probably have that concept paper done yet this week. That way, it's, when Mark comes on board next week, I can meet with him right away and give him an update on what's going on and then get it right back on the agenda for the 2 weeks from now.
All right, well, that's the only question I had. Anybody else have any questions? The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Number 11, 2025 budget engagement letter with Lloyd Group. Janet.
Yeah, last year we didn't have a, city administrator, and I was fairly new, so we hired the Lloyd Group to come in here and help us put together the 2024 budget, and they did a really good job on being a good guidance for us. The cost of it was $2,500, and in my opinion, I think it's a good idea to have them do that for the 2025 band. Here we're almost in the same situation as we were last year.
Do you remember when we approved that?
I should have looked after you said, but I think it was in April.
Okay. So we've got a little time on this. I was kind of wondering with Mark coming on next week, if we don't table this until after Mark gets on board.
I kind of knew about this, and I've spoken with him individually, and
Poor guy.
he thought it was a good idea, but he said he'll work with whatever he's got to do
He thought this was a good idea? Okay.
to stick with them doing it. And he would work if something else needed done to make adjustments. So.
I guess,
But the terms are the same as they were last year. I know there's a lot of wording on it, but it looked like it was all the same.
Yes, I did.
So,
Is it the same cost?
Just,
What's
yep,
the cost?
the cost is the same as
Is the cost is the same as well?
like I said, my preference would be to probably just table it until even 2 weeks from now. I don't think there's a big push from Scott to get this approved right now. I don't think we're in like a big hurry on it, right?
Makes sense, I think.
Okay. We don't need a motion to table it, we just table it and move on, right? Okay, I think, is everybody all right with that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Just table
I
it,
agree.
okay. We're gonna table, the 2025 budget engagement letter with Lloyd Group. Number 12, the laptops. I know that has the mayor's name on it. Janet, I may give some of this to you too, because other than the quotes that are sitting in front of me, and maybe that's all you have too, I'll let you know about it. We just have the quotes here from
Lloyd.
Lloyd on the different price levels for the
The one he recommends is folded.
The HP ProBook?
Yeah.
Mike did tell me he does not have a preference one way or the other on this. He is good with whatever. What are your all's thoughts on this?
I'm happy with it.
There was no preference for me. I know he said maybe just he wanted to, he can't do a tiny keyboard.
Right. I mean, I think we kind of talked about it last time. I don't know that anybody has a big problem with the size of a laptop versus the size of a tablet.
No, they're
for
about the
what we're
same.
using it for here.
Now, this one was the smaller size, the 15.6, I believe.
Probably about what you've got there, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah.
That size?
Trying to find which one it was. Yeah, it says 15.6 inch, yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, the 15.6 is the standard, and I have no preference. I just think we should
Okay.
get going on it.
Somebody want to make a motion then? Take a preference?
I'll move that we move forward with purchasing laptops, the ones recommended by Mr. Davies, which were the i7 13th generation HP ProBooks with the amount that was bolded there, with the unit price of, the quoted price of $934.67 each.
Have a second?
I second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Counselors, you guys have anything? Tim, start down at your end.
Nope, I think we've covered everything.
Good.
Cover.
Kevin?
I do not either.
Amy?
I don't have anything.
I did have one thing here. I saw that we had gotten an email from Kristen with Lang Real Estate earlier this morning. Brian Bina forwarded those. I don't know if you've gotten them yet or not, Janet.
I did
okay.
right lately.
Okay, so Brian was putting together those deed transfers right now was one of the questions she had, so that's moving forward. As far as a time to discuss the plans and designs any further, do you guys, I mean, I don't want to hold them up, I think we probably need to try and figure out something. We're probably going to have to make a special meeting out of it if we're all involved. I mean, if it's a meeting that they want to set, right, that they want all of us at.
Was there a timeline they needed that kind of decided by? I know you have
I
that
think the
timeline.
the one that she wanted to move on and get rolling quickly was the deed.
The deed, but they also want to, I think they want an approval from us on the floor plan.
Oh,
They wanted to meet with us and discuss that floor plan too, I
I
think.
forwarded you guys all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yes.
have the
Yeah,
images.
okay.
I thought that, I mean, that was her initial, but I thought, I kind of got, I mean, her email says, chance to discuss these plans and designs further, so, I mean, I guess if we could just be discussing them now. Do you guys have any concerns over the plans? I mean, I think it was in the packet here too.
yeah, it's
They
in
are.
the packet.
Do you guys have any comments or concerns on what was presented there?
No concerns. It was pretty straightforward plans.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty nice looking house. I like the floor plan of it. I think this one presented was on a slab. I mean, if I'm thinking through it in terms of families, my preference would still be that it's on a basement, even if it's just an unfinished basement, to allow somebody the ability to expand really easily.
I was kind of curious, because at first she put out like 190 to 240,000, but we never really had a plan, and I don't think, unless I missed it, that it really stipulated like what the price point of this particular home is. I mean, I thought the layout stuff looked nice, the rooms looked pretty decent sized, and the exterior of it looked good. But I don't know if that's the 190 or the 250. I'm assuming it's closer to 250 than the 190.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But
One concern I do have is there's no storm shelter whatsoever with this plan.
So
And if there would be something on site that would be,
there is actually, on this one, I was looking at this with Darren earlier. The master
The master closet.
you can see if you look.
It's got a
you can
thickened
show it
wall around the
concreted.
master closet.
Oh, it does? Okay,
Yeah, we
good.
found
Oh, I
that
see
earlier
that.
when we
It
were looking
does.
at the plan.
So
It
it's
say
got,
in the
the
plans.
master closet is the storm shelter
Oh,
on this. If
that's
it's
what
a
that
slab
is.
home. If they go with a basement, I think that's what
That
that
email
storm
did
shelter
say
would
that,
go away,
yeah.
and the mechanical room would go downstairs into
Okay.
the basement then.
Good.
If they're able to do that.
So what kind of a door is on that master closet then? Darren, what kind of a
door
what
do
kind
they
of a
put on
door
that?
is on that closet?
So to be a true storm rating door, you have to have it has to be a door system when it closes, and it has to open, I gotta think about this, it has to open in. It has to open into the room. But when you close that door and you're on the inside, it'd also be a safe room too, because it has to have a deadbolt system with multiple latches that you can fasten so that the air pressure doesn't blow that door in.
So it's not a hollow core.
No, it's not a, the question is, what I don't have an answer for you for, I don't know if the current, because it's been a little while since I've read those criteria, I don't know if it can be a solid wood door. I think it has to be a steel solid door.
Gotcha.
It's gonna be a heck of a closet.
Yeah, it'd be a heck of a closet door.
I just
But it just
pictured
have a
like
regular
a
latch
vault
from the
door, you know,
outside.
when you go into the closet like.
Yeah, it probably would be, yeah. It's probably be a pretty heavy door.
Right.
Wonder you're gonna lose your fingers if you
So you're
slam
gonna
it.
be
was
half asleep in the
say-
morning and wander into the closet door.
Do they all have a double garage, or is there can you ask for like a single car garage and make it less expensive?
I would guess
Or-
that based on the floor plan, that two-car garage is kind of it has to be
It's the
standard
standard.
because of the way that the master bedroom lines up on the back side of it.
Yeah, I see that.
So you think she said like 250 on it?
That's,
That was what she said at the last
Yeah.
meeting.
And then we got $40,000, right, that people are gonna be able to, so you're talking
So
about
then
a $210,000 purchase price?
right.
I mean, that's a lot of money, but for a brand-new home.
For today's day and age, I
Right, I
mean,
think that's kind of where we're at.
sadly.
I would be interested to see what their price point would be if they can get a basement under it, especially if they can get a basement with a
Or e-
egress window that's already in it, so that you can put a
Or even a
code
partial
compliant-
basement. You know, even a partial basement, so you have that at least.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't have any problems with the floor plan itself. Really.
No, floor plan was
It's
fine.
nice.
Okay. Janet, can you?
You want me to ask her about that one?
Yeah, but outside of that, I don't know that anybody has any problems. I think
Mm-mm.
we all kind of like
So
what.
you want to know what the
what's on
cost is of this one that she's presented, and then.
If they've got an estimated cost of that
and then
versus
what
what
it would be more.
Additional.
to
a
the
basement home would be.
And then originally, I think we had said too that, you know, we didn't necessarily want 4 cookie cutter type houses all exactly the same. I mean, you know, if this is the 240, if they had a floor plan of 190 or 200 or something, just to see, I guess, what our options are.
Okay.
Yeah. That's, I don't know, I'm thinking through that. I think that was gonna be tougher for them to change their floor, because if you think about it in terms of, from their perspective, if they can go to somebody like their truss manufacturer and say,
Sure.
you know,
We need 4 of them just like that, yeah.
yep. So
But we can at
it's
least
worth
ask,
asking,
yeah,
worth
see.
asking the question for sure. Okay. That was the only thing I had. Department reports. Margot? Nothing?
Yes, I've got questions,
Okay.
plain going on.
Steve?
Very boring, We hate doing
You got it.
Thank you for going around and picking up the limbs. Saw you guys out doing that. I think that the community really
Yeah.
appreciates that.
Yeah.
That's a huge perk to be able to just get them out by the curb.
There was a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you.
What you're gonna say, like mid-March?
Might have more by then.
Yeah. Janet, you got anything? Zach?
Yeah. So I've got 2 things. One, I found out about a grant opportunity for body cameras. It requires a 50-50 contribution. Even worst case scenario, if we go with like, not like the Cadillac of body cameras, we're looking at our portion being like $2,500, which obviously is, no, total. So still within my budget authority as a department head, but I just wanted to bring that to you. If that was a, like, no, we definitely don't want that, then I wouldn't pursue it. It's a pretty easy application. It's like 30 questions, and that's all I've got to do.
How many would you be looking at trying to get?
I would try to get 6. That way we've got one for everybody, plus a backup or one for a part-timer.
You have,
And at 6, that they're about, the ones we're looking at are between $600 and $800 a piece.
are these better quality than what we have now?
What we have now are from Amazon,
Oh,
so
okay.
yes.
Oh, my.
Would there be any additional computer, any
No.
software, hardware,
So-
anything necessary to run these?
There are some that are that way. We're looking at one specifically that we don't have an ongoing software service contract,
Okay.
that we buy it and we're done. But yeah, the ones we have right now, they're like $150 on Amazon. So they're working okay, but we have the opportunity to pretty substantially upgrade for fairly minimal cost.
Right.
So I'm not looking for an approval or anything, just if you guys were adamantly against it, then I would drop it, but, so the only other thing I've got is, we've got Dustin Woodford that we hired on. He started last Thursday. He sent off academy paperwork today, so don't have an academy date, but he's, excited to be on the team, and
How long, Academy's, what did you say, 14 weeks?
16.
16? So is there a chance, hopefully it won't overlap with Brian's then, right?
It probably will.
It will?
We don't know that yet because we haven't gotten a date,
Sure.
but, Bryant is 2 weeks in now, so probably there will be some overlap.
Okay.
So for example, the 3 guys that the county hired, they're going March 25th. And so
Okay.
they've been on for 2 or 3 weeks now, so it's probably gonna be pretty close to that.
Okay.
So
How-
I'll probably start right about, they're probably getting, my guess is if we get them in the next class, it would be like 3 or 4 weeks that they're there together.
Where's that at again? Was
Outside
it?
of Hutch.
Okay, that's what you said.
Where does that put us in terms of staffing now?
That'll put us at 4.
At 4, including you?
Yep,
What's full's 5?
yep.
Okay. Cool. Welcome. Sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah,
trying to-
welcome.
Thanks.
That's
Zach.
all I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Darren.
Darren's got that.
Oh, yeah.
I follow up, I need to clarify from a comment I made earlier. I said that the Board of Education was meeting tonight. I incorrectly stated they're meeting next Monday night.
Oh,
They're
okay.
meeting, so that approval on that easement we talked about won't be till next Monday, but
Okay.
They've
It's
been
still in
talking-
process.
They've been talking about that. The
the
school
easement,
district's been in,
yeah, the
discussion
easement's been
about-
going back and forth between the attorney's pieces to get it all ironed out. And so it's at the Board of Education for approval.
So the school was on board with doing it?
Oh, yes.
Granting it?
As long as it wasn't a full-time in and out. The only time they have access, or it's just an egress, it's just going
Right.
onto and out. The only time it's gonna be used is if the double doors on that garage are up and they're having to push a high volume of people.
oh, so there's actually a garage door on that port.
There's
on
a
that
double garage door, one on both ends of that garage. It's not just a
So
carport,
we're
it's a double
literally
car
controlling
garage.
access.
Yes,
Back through there.
right. So the average normal person that goes to the new county health department will not be able to pull through that and pull that onto the school district. Only when those garage doors are open and being used for mass vaccinations or testing or something along those lines.
People like Margaret, these days.
Not me, Margaret. I did not say that.
All right. All right. Who puts us at number 14? Motion to adjourn.
Jack, I have a comment to make. Council Waterman said before the meeting and after the meeting that we can make a public statement. I just was going to ask, how many days is our new, different city administrator going to be working a week?
Somewhere between 3 and 4 days a week.
Okay, so we haven't set it down.
Well, it just kind of depends on his schedule. He's required to give us some notification on it, but somewhere between 3 and 4 days a week.
And then I'd also like to make a remark about the body cam, because I don't think they're necessary to spend the taxpayers' dollars for it. I showed up just beautiful on
body cams when they raided my house. I've seen nothing wrong with them.
Thank you. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been, yep, and Amy is the second. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Amazing.